Installing and configuring Azure AD Connect. Microsoft Azure AD Connect is a piece of software that we install on a server. It doesn't have to be a dedicated server. And the purpose of this Azure AD Connect is, as you know, Office 365 has its own directory services, aka Azure, Microsoft Azure Directory Services. There are different versions of Azure Directory Services or Azure Directory Services. Some people call it Azure, some people call it Azure, and I have heard one pronunciation is Azura. I don't know what people like it, but Microsoft Azure uh, has its own directory service, flat structure, and this directory services is there so that when you populate your or sync your user account becomes a part of Office 365 Azure Active Directory. Okay. Once it happens, as I said earlier, okay, user account gets synced, groups got synced, but passwords are not by default. So whatever happens, that you may want to achieve the same sign-on or single sign-on strategy, that all you want your user to remember just one password, so the same password they use to log on to their desktop when they come to work, same login username and password to access their Office 365 mails, as it's typically the case in on-premise Exchange server, right? Everything is all Active Directory centric. So you want to achieve this with Office 365. You can achieve this by installing and configuring Azure AD Connect. It's a piece of software, and what does it do? It can perform password syncs. It's one of the things that it can do. For example, whenever I change or whatever my passwords are of my Active Directory users, it will be synced with Microsoft Office 365 Active Directory. So eventually they will have the same password. Password sync is one of the features that Microsoft Azure AD Connect can do it for you. You specify the target organization unit, for example, and whatever is under that, it can, whatever objects are there, like users and groups, it can sync those with specific attributes, that whatever you specify. Of course, user account in groups is another benefit. So in the future, for example, my company have another user account. Let's say some new person joins in. All I have to do is just create their account or that person account in Active Directory, and that account will be automatically populated in Office 365. And once it's there, I can assign the license to it, and that's it. The user is ready to go, rather than manually creating the user in Office 365. Right? Same thing goes for group. Password synchronization provides same sign-on. It means let's say I use the password sync option of Azure AD Connect. The password will be synchronized. So when my user will connect to Office 365 or open their Outlook, although they are logged into domain, they need to specify the password, which will be the same password due to synchronization as the Active Directory password, and then they can select to save that password. Once they save this password, as long as the password is remain valid, they don't have to reprovide the password. So it looks like a single sign-on, but it's not. It's the same sign-on because it's the same username and password. Single sign-on is you just log on once, and same security tokens, serves you throughout. But here, because users are saving their password in Outlook or on their mail profile, it looks like it's single sign-on, but it's not. It's the same sign. Means if I change my user Active Directory password and next time I'll try to open the Outlook to connect to Office 365, they will be prompted for passwords and they have to enter the new password and they can save it again and it will appear like the same thing. Okay. Of course, Active Directory Azure AD Connect is a piece of software that can be used to achieve single sign-on. It can be configured along with Active Directory Federation Services, which is an optional component of Azure AD Connect. So same piece of software can also be used to implement single sign-on requirement. It has some specific requirements to set up, like some specific user accounts is required, which I will show you. And you don't need to install that software on dedicated server. But in my lab environment, I have a server here. It's called Azure AD Connect server, or ADC. I will install Azure AD Connect here, and it will be syncing user accounts, groups, and their passwords to Office 365. Okay, clear? So let's start with demonstration. So I logged into this computer called, it's a Windows Server 2012 R2 server called ADC, and it's a part of domain ITsense.net, right? Just very minimal requirement, nothing fancy. Static IP address and all. Have access to internet, domain membership, right? I go to Google and search and write download Azure AD Connect. It give me this link. Let's see what's there. And here, Microsoft Azure Active Directory Connect. So let's say download, and it's downloading that MSI. While it's downloading the MSI, we can go back and see system requirements. And 2012 R2 is there. And for more information, there is a link. Prerequisites. You need an Azure subscription or trial subscription, right? Okay. You can also use the Office 365 portal. Okay, add and verify the domain. Okay. Okay, objects, limits, fine. Azure AD Connect server. Cannot be installed on a small business server. Okay, it must be a full GUI, not supported on server core. Okay. If you're planning for password sync, that must be 2008 R2 SP1 or later. Okay. And it must have .NET Framework 4.5 and PowerShell 3.0. Okay. And these are the two requirements I guess we need to achieve. And if I go to PowerShell 3.0, I think we do have it, if I'm not mistaken. If I go to add roles and features, okay, .NET 4.5, it's there, but I'm not sure it's .2.3, but Windows PowerShell, it's also there, version 4. So we'll take a risk and see. Okay. So what's there? Another thing, we need an Azure Global Administrator account to interact with, and an account in Active Directory. Okay, we will see as it goes. So let's show in the folder, and I would like to install AD Connect. Let's see. If anything is missing, it will tell us and we will do that. Run the installation tool on a server where the synchronization service component will be installed. Yes. And it will integrate my on-premise and online directories. So the installation will guide you for the selection or identity synchronization. Yes, I agree with that. If you have a single Windows Server Active Directory forest, they recommend you to go for Express settings, which basically what it does, it do password sync. It don't go for the Active Directory Federation Services setup, which is fine, right? It will configure the synchronization of identities in the current forest of ITSAN, configure password synchronization from on-premise AD to Azure AD, start an initial synchronization, synchronize all attributes, and auto upgrade. We can always do customize, or we can say use express settings. If I say customize, so what would you like to do? Well, you can specify customs and use an existing SQL server, otherwise to install its own. So I will use express settings. Okay. Now it's asking for Azure Global AD Administrator credentials. I need to have somebody with which I think I do. And password. Sorry about that. I can always confirm that. But let's see. Yep, I think it is the global administrator. That's good. So now here we need to specify a user account which is an enterprise admin in our Active Directory. So you should use a different account and save it a very secure password. But in the lab environment, I'm using administrator account. Yeah. And another thing that it verifies is the UPN suffix. Luckily, my local domain itsense.net is my public domain itsense.net, so it matches automatically. If not, if you're using something .local or something, then make sure you add the UPN suffix. And of course, you know how to add the UPN suffix, right? In case if you don't, then you need to go to your domain controller, okay, and Active Directory domains and trust. I think it was here somewhere. Yeah, UPN suffix. And here you need to specify the UPN suffix. For example, tidbits.net. I'm just joking. And you can click add. Whatever it is there, you can add. That's how you add UPN suffix. Okay. Verified. Awesome. Next. Okay. Once you click install, it will do the following. Install the synchronization engine, configure AD connector, configure IDSense.net connector, password synchronization, auto upgrade, and services. Alright, and start the synchronization process when it's complete. Okay, so install. So installing a local Microsoft SQL Express. and it's configuring the service. So while it's doing that, I will pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, so configuration is complete, and now what I'd like to do is to exit, and here you can see synchronization rule editor, right? And here you have lots of different options. Outbound, user join, exchange online, Azure MS, all different rules. And here we have synchronization surface. Okay. I can always initiate and run full synchronization. And it's a web service connector, and that's the Azure AD Connect. It will open again. Okay. We can customize the synchronization options. Azure AD Connector password username. Again, it was if you want to customize it, I'm just showing you because some people like to do that, which is the filtering. If you want to configure filtering, like you don't want to sync everything, you want to sync user accounts in groups only, and only those particular user accounts and groups which are based on particular OU, then you can do filtering. If you intend to perform filtering, I suggest when you are configuring Azure AD Connect, don't select the initial synchronization. First configure filtering and then start synchronizing. Okay. So what was the IP sense on Microsoft.com and password. Okay, next. Yeah, see, this is the filter. If you change the OU filtering on given directory, next will be automatically perform full cycle. I will say sync selected OUs and domains. So what I will do, I will choose corp only, because in my corp I have computer groups and users. I don't care about computers, to be honest. I just care about users and groups. I don't want to do sync anything else. And that's what you can do. Okay, from the Azure AD Connect, you can come here and define the filter. Next. Any optional feature? No, password is fine with me. And mail public folder? No, not yet. And that's all good. Okay. And let me show you while it's doing that why I said, yeah, start done. So why I did say that corp OU, because this is my domain controller, and if I open Active Directory users and computers. I have here corp, and then users, and then organization units, and then I have users here. And same thing for groups. Okay. So what I would like to do, definitely, if somebody joins in marketing, let's say, let me create a new user. Let's say user test. Okay. And you test. This person has just joined. This is with that. Okay. We can say you test. So let's say this gentleman had just joined the marketing department. So of course I will be creating his user account under marketing OU, right? And member of marketing department, you see. This is the exchange one. And so if I go to users, you will see some distributed groups that we have created before with Exchange. See? Marketing department, IT department, finance department, and sales department, and what was that? Admin department. If I expand, these are the groups I have created in Exchange. I can move them, let's say, to core and groups. So just to show you around, this is the Exchange server. So the console is still open, and groups. Yeah, you see. Corporate user though, it's still there because that was dynamic distribution group. So if I go back here, you will see it's called corporate user. So let me move it to also under corp and groups so that they can get replicated. Once again, although it's, I'm not teaching Exchange here, you can see my previous Exchange 2016 series, but just to show you around, if you want to create a distribution group or dynamic distribution group or security group, and if you go here, you can specify where you like this distribution group to be created. If you don't specify it, it will go under the users. So it's done. Awesome. So AD Connect. Oh, sorry, exit. I would like to do let's go to synchronization service, and yeah, and I can select here and say run just once again, and I will say delta synchronization because full sync has already been done. And while it's syncing, which it says success, let's see whether the user that I have created, will it appear in Office 365 portal? If in case if it did appear in It's all working. So let's check it out. And here we go. You see, I'm in Office 365 portal, and I can still see that user has been replicated to Office 365 unlicensed. You see, username, it's there. So all I need to do is just assign a license, and that this user will get a mailbox in Office 365. So that's the beauty of doing password 6. Oh, I'm sorry, AD Connect 6. That you create new user, you don't have to populate or create an account for it in Office 365. Users, they don't have to remember multiple passwords. You create groups, and those groups will be available to you. Okay, so this is the idea of AD Connect. Lovely. And as you can see here, synced with Active Directory. This says in cloud, because these are the ones that I have created here. These users don't exist in Active Directory, but others are just synced. One of the things just came in my mind that, as you can see, all these users are synced, and this one is the account that I created in the cloud, so that's why it's in the cloud. And this one was also created in the cloud, so it's on the cloud. The rest are all synced. But some of you may ask, why the administrator account? This is the administrator account, which is a domain-based administrator account. Why it's not syncing with Active Directory? Why it says in the cloud? And the reason is that's for security reasons. For security purposes, AD Connect, Azure AD Connect, or even the previous version like dir sync or directory sync, they don't sync these critical accounts. So although it has the mailbox, and the mailbox was populated here, an account was populated, but password was never synced. Okay, so that's why when we enable the sync, the status of this one did not change. It says in cloud. Okay, so this is just to clarify one point regarding to the administrator user account. That this one that you should know. Maybe you may like to remove the administrator account into one specific OU that you have filtered, that you are targeting in your Azure AD Connect filter, and still you are saying that why it's not replicating now, all right? Why the status is not changed? So that's one of the reasons that for administrator account it will always be the case. With that, and this is for security reasons. Okay, right now I've logged in as user called Mark Nicholas, and I'm configuring Office 365 profile for his Outlook. And this Office 365 login appear. And which password should I type here? Remember, Azure AD Connect is in place. So if I type its domain password, it did accept it. And the reason of that is our good old AD Connect synchronization. I typed the Mark Nicholas domain password and it did accept it. Finish. Okay, Mr. Mark Nicholas, time to fire up your Outlook for the very first time. Come on, come on. And later. And Mr. Mark Nicholas got his mailbox. So see, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what ActiveSync is all about. Sorry, not ActiveSync. Azure AD Connect is all about. Your passwords, your AD passwords, your AC, your Active Directory password or AD password can be used for Office 365 services. Here I'm just giving an example of Exchange Online. But Office 365 is not just Exchange. It is Skype for Business. It is OneDrive, right? There is SharePoint Online. So all these services can utilize this type of functionality because it's all depends on this, which is this Active Directory of Microsoft Azure. All services is based on this, which is a flat structure Active Directory. And later on, if I make video on Azure, I may like to explain that there are multiple versions of Active Directory in Azure, like Active Directory Premium, for example. But let's don't go into the details here. Just to simplify things, there is something called Azure Active Directory, and Microsoft Azure Active Directory also serves to Office 365 as directory services as well. So, all good, all good. We have tested, we have configured AD Connect, and I did show you how to configure filtering to target specific OUs. You can even filter it further. Go through the details, see how it works. Try to set up a lab. As I said, I don't have a specific Exchange. I don't have a dedicated Exchange server. I just have a website, GoDaddy, and I use their services. All I'm using is the trial of Office 365. And you can also sign up for a 30 days trial. And all you have to do, one thing that you may need to do is register a domain, which is cheap, not that expensive. And I don't have a dedicated internet link, so you can create a temporary records in the DNS of your domain that points to your home ADSL or fiber or active or NBN or whatever, and you can create some NAT rules in your routers just for practice, man, just for practice. If you want to do practice, you will find out the way how to set it up, and all you need, of course, is evaluation versions of all the product and Hyper-V, which is there in Windows 10, Windows 8, I guess also, and or VMware Workstation or any other software. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Take it easy.